Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take the position from the Chamber of Agribusiness. Mr. Anthony Morrison is the Chief Executive Officer. Let's put our hands together for him as well.
Thank you very much, everyone. It is a good opportunity to be here to discuss this particular topic. I think this program couldn't have come up at a time better than this because obviously of the challenges we're facing in the sector. Let me first of all preface my presentation to properly contextualize some of the policies that we have the benefit to run as a country. We have the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Plan that was initiated by African Union. We also have the ECOWAS Agriculture Sector Policy. And in Ghana, we have developed several policies over the past 60 years plus of the country's history. However, having implemented the METASIP, which is the Medium-Term Agriculture Sector Investment Plan, and the FASDEP, the Food and Agriculture Sector Development Plan, we have realized that there have been some shortfalls in the implementation process. Obviously, due to the fact that, and this has also been captured by the Economic Intelligence Unit, over the years, Ghana government have failed to show obvious commitment to agriculture policies. We have several policies within the industry that are not harmonized, and obviously we also have policies that are not properly aligned to global events, global economies, and national economic challenges. So these and many other faceted challenges have worked obviously against how policies are developed within the agriculture industry, how policies are implemented. We have in the past seen the adoption of several IMF policies from the Structural Adjustment Plan, Vision 2020, PALMS Card, and several of them. We saw how strategic within the PNDC time we had VORADEP, the NORIDEP, IRIDEP, and all this geared towards developing the agro-industry sector within the country. However, little can be said about some of this and their sustainability or exit strategies in terms of doing some impact assessment. Over the past decade, the relative size of the agriculture sector in Ghana has more than halved, amounting to more than 15.3% of the nominal GDP. And in 2019, we went down, and you can look at the sector and its performance. I would say that if you take up the 2018, the agriculture census, it shows that we have quite about 7.3 agriculture households. That's 7.3 million agriculture sector households, representing quite about 44.7% of the country's population. We have also seen some other figures about 51.3% from other publications. But what we are expecting out of this IMF policy or the IMF engagement is to see strategically how the private sector primarily is given the opportunity to lead in the development of a long-term strategic agriculture sector investment plan that can provide sustainable agro-industry anchored on agro-industry exports, because the forex is obviously amounting to some of the challenges we're having. Currently, some of our members who are exporting are having to borrow money here and there to mitigate the forex challenges. If we come to the production sector of the agriculture value chain, we have seen in the past 2 years, the cost of food production continues to increase. Fertilizers, we have seen in the area of NPK, moving from 160, now being sold almost 340, depending on your closeness to Accra. We have seen urea 46, that has crossed the almost 500 cities threshold. The prices of seeds have gone up tremendously, and this is the engine of the crop sector. If, as a country, you do not have enough vibrant seed production sector, your industry is as good as dead. The publication from the BFT a few days ago shows government owing the private local indigenous seed production sector 207 million cedis. This is as a result of supply in the 2021 production season. And let me say that these are primarily in the areas of grains and cereals. We import well over 80% of the country's vegetable seeds. And if government is supplying seeds imported to our vegetable farmers, and also some of the hybrid seeds that we import, I'm sure we'll be looking at figures well over 500 million cedis. That is only for the crop sector. I mean, if you even add the agrochemicals, one area, one variety is glyphosate. Last year, we were buying glyphosate at 16 cedis. Now, you'll be lucky to get it at 52 cedis. So that should tell you the tremendous challenges facing the local farmer, the peasant farmer, the poor smallholder farmer. Amounting to all these challenges is the increasing cost of labor, transportation, several logistical challenges, and also the fuel challenges. We used to plow an acre for about 120, 150. We are now plowing the same acreage at 280, 320, depending on the distance from the main road. So we have an array of challenges, but I would like to just look at how we have come as a country. The development of every economy is anchored on agriculture. The derivatives of agriculture has been able to develop several economies to where they are today. So they look at agriculture, industrialization, and services. Where agriculture is doing well, we can boldly say that industries and services are providing the critical complementary support. But in Ghana, we anchored agriculture on services doing well. So the rhetorics, the dynamics, the set out goals and objectives at the first place are even wrong and not properly aligned. Our expectations are that we'll begin to look at a kind of long-term agriculture sector policy. We expect government to provide some externalities critical to agriculture production. If you take the poultry industry that has been crying and begging for several years, we import well over everything in that sector. Ghana's current day-old chick importation rate is about 18 million day-old chicks annually. Over 70% are coming from Netherlands. We import the rest from the Unity Brothers in Burkina Faso. We bring some from Morocco, Egypt. And as a country, attending the IBA African Union ECOWAS meeting in Burkina Faso, Ghana has a better policy implementation strategy, but the commitment is our problem. Nigeria has the biggest poultry industry in Africa, and it is such that as a country, if we are able to develop our parent stock for day-old chick production, we should be able to mitigate some of the rate at which we import the day-old chicks. For instance, if one is costing $1 or €1 50 cents as a landing rate, incorporate that into the current forex rate. You understand if one is losing 100 chicks a day as a result of little challenges on the farm. Aside the day-old chicks, we import everything of the feed additives, lice, the likes of lysine, methionine, decalciums, the enzymes, the vitamins, the vaccines are all imported. So it is an industry where we do not have any ownership. The only ownership is our ability to produce cereals and grains
Okay.
to feed the poultry industry directly. And I'm just trying to take my time to break so that you get to understand, obviously, the various challenges we face in. It is an industry where, if you look at the importation, we do well over 50 million metric tons of frozen chicken only from the European Union. Data available from the European Union Agriculture Intelligence Desk shows Ghana is the third largest importer of trade partner, and we have Brazil and the US. So data from even the US, United States Department for Agriculture, shows that, yes, of course, we are importing quite a huge amount of frozen chicken across board.
So one of the things I'm going to have to ask you to also add while you continue on this, Mr. Morrison, aside recounting some of these difficulties, and you have already talked about the lack of alignment, lack of harmonization. Can you give us specific policies that ought to be aligned and harmonized that can deal with some of these problems that you're talking about?
Well, yes, obviously, when you talk about non-alignment of policies, you're looking at global trend and global production intelligence and the global economy, how it is going, the various derivatives. You expect to develop a policy here in Ghana that can be contextualized into the global events. As a country, we have been looking at production policies for several years, and we are no longer at the production policy stage as a country. At the private sector level, you're looking at market and trade oriented policies. You first of all need to look at where is your market before you design the production criteria or indicators. But we have been looking at production consistently, and this is where we miss the link. We delink ourselves from identifying the market, the right varieties, the right way to produce, and specifically contextualize the various things that needs to be done. Now, government commitment, as you asked, it has been the fact that over the years, no government has been able to actually provide or make it up to the Malabo or the Maputo Declaration of the African Union. We have considerably been doing well over 0.1% as against the 10% requirement for the increasing budgetary allocation to the agriculture sector. And these are some of the major challenges impacting on the development of the agriculture sector in Ghana.
Okay. So we're not committing enough funds to the agri sector in your view. But in your view, again, you mentioned the fact that we're sort of taking the production aspect seriously, but we're not looking at the market aspect. Is that the case? So what's the D-link? Because I'm looking at the likes of, and I mentioned them earlier, Bob, who is producing and getting access to the market and getting a lot of demand from the market, but are not able to produce enough. We are looking at people who are producing on a very small scale, small and medium enterprises, producing snails on a small scale with a large market out there. How do we bridge that gap?
It's quite an area where I think that using insurance mitigating system that can help you access credit, like GESEL has been doing the industry, but primarily it has to be based on a national derivatives as to what commodities as a country do we identify as a major anchoring point for our policy development. But for him as a person, he needs to look at, sometimes I'm not talking about him per se, but sometimes too, the stories are nice to be told. But when you go down to the books, you go down to the production, you go down to what actually is happening, you realize that even at the production stage, there are that challenges because some of the sectors are highly critical and they are doing well and they can do it. What needs to be done in such cases is to look at, okay, if really you have the market guarantee, what are the areas that you need to look at? Are the financial regulations or the financial systems supporting your market guarantee? So GESA, for instance, will do that. There are other organizations that will provide some of these support systems for you to structure a better financial proposal to be able to uptake financing to increase your production.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. That's the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Agribusiness, and because you are coming from the ground, from the field, I really needed to ask you quite a lot. Tony, you have a question coming from one of our audience. If you can respond to that one and then summarize in 30 seconds, we have to wrap up.
Thank you very much. The 2018 agriculture census says that we have about over 70% of the Ghana's agricultural workforce uses rudimentary technologies and they have low skills. So obviously, it points to the fact that, yes, our farmers may not be having the kind of technology or skills that are critical for certain investment uptake and the kind of farming that is also taking place in Burkina Faso has serious government backing. Government understand the need. I mean, the seeds that are used there have been tropicalized. We know the variety of seed they use, the variety of tomato outcome with thicker flesh, low water content. We know that.
Okay.
So that has to be incorporated into this. But then, the agriculture irrigation penetration rate in the country is less than 12%, even though we have a full authority, agriculture regulation, irrigation authority, working on it for over 10 years. So we're still not moving anywhere. But let me say that as a country, we cannot develop an agro-industrialization out of peasant farming. We need to make that clear. And as a chairperson of the Agriculture Sector Skills Council, I want to make it clear here that there is no way the kind of skills we have in the current agriculture sector, especially peasant farming, can help develop Ghana's agriculture growth. We need to diversify the skills of today's Ghana's agriculture or today's farmer.
Okay.
If you go to America, they only have 0.03%. Over almost close to 400 million. Only about 30,000 people are farmers.
Okay, I think
so
that reason...
the impact of the kind of subsidies, no, wait a minute. The impact of the kind of subsidies that government puts in is measurable.
Do that in 10 seconds.
We'll have over 10 million farmers. How much do you expect government to put in to measure the kind of results that we're looking for? To narrow this down, I want to say that going forward, if possible tomorrow, the minister must resign.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Then to tie in the two, and the minister for Agri must resign.
No, Tony,
then
we're running out of time. Please do this quickly.
We need to stop all ongoing agriculture programs and introduce a new emergency agriculture plan that will take us out of the current challenges that we have.
Okay, I think that point is well made. Let me go.